know nothing with any certainty, but the sight of the stars make me dream.
Gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode. This is a special episode because this is the episode that my good friend Jeff will be departing from a land that he dwelled in for the past. I'll allow him to tell you how many years. So this is going to be a good one, a farewell, but not a farewell, but just the turning of a new leaf.
What's up, everybody?
What's going on, man?
Yeah, it's been 12 years. I moved up here to the Rochester area in 2010.
Okay.
Yeah, 2009. So the end of 2009 into 2010.
Okay.
So
It's been a nice. The journey's been not a bad one, right? Nice experience. Good
yeah,
people.
met a lot of good people and made some really good relationships, and it was definitely a time of learning and building. I had two more kids while I was up here, so started a new family over. So I have, two older, well, actually three, because we ended up having another addition to the family who was older, and so I've got two 22-year-olds and 18-year-old and 9 and a 7-year-old. So
Wonderful. They bundled up and all headed off to a wonderful land tomorrow. Should be good.
yeah,
It's been nice, knowing you here. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Been great leader. So you and your family, everybody, just enjoy the new beginning. It's going to be good. Definitely going to be good. I'm actually anticipating new energy because you're actually going to be going into a Republican state, so it's really good to see how you'll be able to reflect on the living people move
yeah.
around. What's the living like? That's what I can't wait to hear, and just to see the energy that's once you start doing these shows on.
You're breaking up a lot. I don't know if that's me or if that's you.
Let me see. All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, that sounds better.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So hopefully it's just I'm that energy that you're going to be bringing from down there, man. I can't wait to see from all your new experiences and everything.
Yeah, we've been we have an assigned liaison. I don't know what other states do this, but basically we have a person that is assigned to us who helps us get all of our, he tells us what companies to use for, electricity, water, garbage, internet, cable. He lays it all out for you and tells you what's available, what's the pros and cons to each one. But it's a little different down there. There's not too many choices. So whatever area you live in, that's the cable company you have. You know, so
Mm.
it is a little bit different than up here. But we'll figure this. We'll figure it all out once we get down there. Um,
Yeah, and things
and
like cable are so. I mean, nowadays you do have internet, but
I
even
don't.
still,
Yeah,
it'll
yeah,
be if it's an internet company that everybody's using. It's not like you can use an alternative if it's right. If it sucks, it's like, hey, it is what it is, right?
yeah. I mean, because we're going from we had green light up here, which is like the best
Yeah,
you
the
could
top of
get.
the top. Yeah, yeah.
So I'm like, is there green light down there? My wife's
I
like, no,
I
no,
believe that's where it originated, right? Well, not from that actual state that you're headed to, but I thought it was something that originated down there first. I'm not sure.
no, no. It's they're the owner of Paychecks and some other big Rochester-based company. The owners were upset that Spectrum and Time Warner were monopolizing, and they made their own company and made it
Oh,
better. Yeah.
got
So they're all from Rochester, the
you. Yeah.
owners.
Oh, I
Yeah.
think I mixed up. Then okay, it must have.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because so the thing in Rochester is that it's not in all areas of Rochester now, right? It's only low. You're going to get that green light service in certain spots, right?
Yeah. They only go where they get a certain amount of um like contract. So we had to get all of our neighbors to sign up for it before it came. So you got to have like 80% or whatever it was of the neighborhood sign up and say that they would get it if they came to the neighborhood. And
Ooh,
then they would come to that neighborhood and
gotcha,
hook it up. Yeah.
gotcha, gotcha.
And
Nice.
so they go from neighborhood to neighborhood. Um, and some people don't want it. Yeah, they don't. Like I talked to some people, they wanted it, but the local neighborhood people, they didn't want them to come in and dig up anything and bring in another service. So they denied them. So they're
Mm,
pretty upset about that. But
I'm pretty sure they are. Oh man.
yeah,
Well, without further ado, I mean, it's kind of like we can lead right into what was titled here, the Biden effect, because similar to the discussion we're having of energy being located in certain spots
yeah,
and stuff like that. I just want to focus our energy over to the energy that's now being changed against Biden, because what I've seen recently was a discussion that he had on I can't remember the name of the news station, but I think it might have been no, it wasn't Stephanopoulos. It was this other guy. But he was really sticking it to Joe Biden about his Afghanistan decisions. And for the first time since his you know campaign, or since his administration has taken office, we've actually gotten to see real questions being asked, and we got to see the light being shined on Joe Biden. And for most of the people and all around media, everybody's been talking. It's like Joe Biden really dropped the ball. Now, for me, I've been kind of distancing myself from some of the discussions because for me, I just automatically knew where everything was going to head, and I knew just once they start giving him serious questions instead of asking him about his favorite ice cream color and all that flavor and all that crazy stuff, we'll be able to really see what we're really dealing with. And for the most part, right now, some Democrats right now are calling them out. There's a guy in my job the other day. He was very upset about this Democrat that was calling him out, putting him out on the table like, "Hey, what the heck is what's going on here?" Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you've been protected, and now we've seen you actually say things that we're kind of confused. Like, Biden, what are you? What kind of leader are you? You're pulling back on your promises. You're switching and changing your tune, and a lot of people are just left here like, "Oh man, what kind of did I make the wrong decision?" I mean, for me, I'm thinking like I know me, and you told me I had to make a decision. So whatever decision you made, you have to stick with that now and be happy with what you made. You know?
Well, it's been it's been good in for people who were telling people, face to face, just regular relationships. Who,
Yeah.
when we started talking, just with regular people who were think that they were into politics and think they knew why they hated Trump and thought that there was so much better in Biden than what
Mhm.
Trump was actually the things and you know the things that Trump actually accomplished and what he was going to accomplish.
Key. Yep.
What people were saying was that he didn't know what he was doing. I remember having conversations. He's dumb. He's a 3-year-old. He can't even speak. He can't even tweet.
Hmm.
Argue, having stupid. I stopped, but having stupid arguments over what the media wanted us to argue about instead of talking about what was he actually doing.
Yep. Yep.
And what we're seeing, I believe, is what needed to be seen. So Trump could have pulled out in Afghanistan when he was president.
Yep.
I believe Trump knew that he was going to lose.
Yeah.
This is my personal belief. I think it's what Trump had to do was to show America not who Biden was, because Biden was just a puppet, but you had to show what the deep state, the global, the globalists who control the Democrats and
Hmm.
Republicans, a lot of Republicans, had to show their agenda. And the only way to do that was to let them crumble the economy and start to mess up things like Afghanistan. Start messing up. I mean, you look at what they're going after with the spending bill. I mean, the Democrats are saying, "How could we even? We can't pass this. There's no way. This is stupid. Why are, we're going to ruin America if we pass this bill?" Actual Democrats are saying that there's no way we should pass. We should even bring this bill up because it's not going to pass.
Wow.
The
Horrible.
only people that are for that bill are the people who are bought and paid for by the globalists who want to crumble America's economy, because that is the only way that they can. And I'm going to, I don't want to change the direction of the conversation, but the ultimate
But
goal, which we've been talking about for a long time, is this great reset.
yeah, no, yeah, definitely.
And
Yeah.
because of him, because of what Trump put into play, they had to go to this extreme and use COVID. Even this Afghanistan thing, it's just basically all that is to me. They purposely did that. It's a
Yeah.
false flag
Oh yeah, definitely. It
because
is.
they need the mayhem to go back in there. Because if the Taliban ever took over again, that
Yeah.
would eliminate the heroin that is coming out of Afghanistan. That the Taliban took out. The Taliban are anti-drugs,
Yeah.
so they shut down the largest heroin dealers in the world and kicked them out. America came over, took over Afghanistan, and next thing you know, America had the biggest heroin epidemic we ever had. And the heroin was all coming from Afghanistan. And our troops were a part of protecting that that trade, the drug trade, from the Taliban.
That's powerful. See, a lot of people didn't know that we had ties over there in Afghanistan, which is interesting because Osama bin Laden was actually trained in the American military, fighting forces and stuff like that. It was interesting. A photo I seen on social media recently the other day was showing some people over in what's that war that's taking place over right now in that country across the not the India war. It's the I forgot the name. Yemen. Was taking place
Yemen,
over
yeah,
um some of the Houthi soldiers over there, and the way that they were holding their weapons, the guy pointed out in the photo in the caption he was saying that these guys were American trained soldiers. Like these are like nobody would know how to would hold a gun that way unless they were trained in a certain department within the military, and I just found that to be interesting. So,
yeah.
but go ahead, continue on with your build, but I just wanted to make sure I shared that part.
Well, if we what's going on is behind the scenes, Trump has drawn all of his allies in and 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 kept his allies, Saudi Arabia, some other ones. But you look at these governments that are crumbling right now, like Afghanistan.
Yeah.
You look at Libya. You look at Yemen. You look at what's the one where Hunter Biden was at? And not Croatia, but
Oh, man, I forgot. I forgot. Was it
well,
Ukraine? Ukraine?
Ukraine. So
Yep.
those are all puppet governments
Yeah.
that, while Obama was in office,
Hmm.
that were placed and selected. These people were selected by Obama to maintain the Muslim Brotherhood. What Obama did was protect all of Muslims,
Hmm.
and he put these people into place so that they could use the Muslims as their lynchmen and create terror when there shouldn't have been, so that they can perpetuate and keep the Americans in a fearful way, and keep on spending their money so that they could just basically, like I said, the ultimate goal was to spend their money and take assets away that would never come back to America, and allow the dollar to crumble, so that they could usher in a one world currency.
And see, and that's something that we see that has came into play slowly but surely. So I think one of the key who is that? Tootie? Oh, one of the key things that has came into play is they allow the confusion in as far as Democrat versus Republican. We don't know what's going on in these other countries as far as these earthquakes and things like that. We don't know if they're man created or if they're happening naturally, but they create all of these different catastrophes. This the COVID-19 shutdown and all of these things. Now we have the variant, and you think about the way that you can create a catastrophe and fear within people to automatically put people in a position to say,
Yeah.
you know, because the COVID alone was just to test itself to see if we can get people to comply. Now, just think about things on a financial. Okay, just a second. Think about if we could get people to comply now on a financial level. It was funny because I was just sharing with somebody the other day. I was like, about it was like an ID. I was like, why do we keep still have to show a physical ID? And he called me. He was like, oh, you want the chip? And I was like, man, nah, I want the chip. But and then I thought
Mm-mm-mm.
about it. I was like, you see, it's a way to make life seem easier. See,
Yeah.
once you constantly creating, keep innovating, and making things seem more easier for you to do, then it's more easier just to usher in something as subtle as a reset type of thing. Like, hey, what do you think about this? This is better for all people. And people would just eat out of their hands or something like that so easily because it comes to you in like a non-threatening way. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? It's more like, oh, it's here to benefit you and to help you, but when at the end of the day, we know what ends up happening. You know.
just like masks, right? What they
Mm,
were saying. Well,
good point.
the mask might it's not for your protection. It's for your neighbor's protection. It's for your best friend. It's for your mother.
Yeah,
Your
yeah.
your weak and you know immune depressed suppressed
Hmm.
uncle. And what they've done is basically turn people into policing their own. And that's what the whole thing in New York is blowing up. What they're doing in New York City is crazy. So basically, they're basically saying if you don't have your proof that you got vaccinated, you can't shop, you can't go into any grocery stores, any restaurants, bars, nothing.
Man, listen,
But the
it's
people that are policing it are the actual companies. And think about this. The reason why they thought that they were going to get away with this and the reason why I believe Trump allowed, even though this whole vaccine is crazy, he had to allow the vaccine and push for the vaccine. If we didn't have the vaccine right now, as horrible as it is, we would have no small businesses left.
mm,
We would be completely shut down. We would be in our homes and we would be living basically on rations that were delivered by the government.
yeah. They don't want to talk about that. Yeah.
And so he had to push that because he knew that he wasn't going to be in office after his first 4 years. He knew it was going to have to come to this. So he pushed that. And what what's happening is the counter attack to that is we gotta we have to hurry up and eliminate the small businesses because if we can control the mass amounts of people going to Walmart, going to Home Depots, going to McDonald's, going to these big corporations, the big corporations are going to comply.
Mm,
So they'll be the police and we won't have to make it a law. So the less companies that are out there, the easier it is to control the people because they don't have the choices. They don't have the
yeah.
mom and pops to say, you know what, I don't care about masks. Just come in, eat, do whatever you want to do. If you want to wear a mask, you can. But you try that at Walmart, you're not, they're not letting
Yeah.
you in.
Yeah. And it just takes away from you being like your civil liberties to be able to say, there's an option. If this store owner complies or doesn't comply, it doesn't want to apply. That's up to their business. That's if they want to.
Yeah,
It should be that. But see how America always knows how to. It goes back to that fear. That fear, and then it's now I can go and reinterpret the law again, because I know it says this, but during a time of an emergency, see that's where they had to get that for the COVID, they had to get a state of emergency pretty
yeah,
much
yeah,
to be able to open up these unknown laws now. Oh, so all your civil liberties, everything that we said that you have your rights to do, now that's just been all sucked away because we have a national threat. And oh my god, you guys just gotta listen and comply to everything we say, which is kind of like, it puts people in the position like, man, but if you're already living a life to where you understand that we're looked at as the bottom feeders of society, if you're not erring on the side of being a multi-millionaire in some kind of multi big industry doing something already. Because that was one of the discussions I had with somebody recently. It was like one of America's biggest issues in capitalism is the fact that it doesn't allow big businesses to fail. Big businesses are allowed to stay around and continue to get buyouts and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
bailouts. You know what I'm saying, from the presidents and things like that, or legislations, where in a free capitalistic market, these mom and pop stores and automobile shops and all these other things are supposed to be able to really compete fairly. But we say it's a fair market to compete in, but realistically, it's really geared towards those that already have capital, or if you're already like a what they would call a venture capitalist company where a bunch of people are pooling money in together and going out and acquiring businesses. So it's a lot there.
Well, because they want those big corporations so that they can control the masses. That's what
Mhm.
it's all about.
It
That's
is.
why they allow Ford to bail
Mhm.
out Ford, and
Yeah.
what they said. Well, if we don't bail them out, what's going to happen to the people? Well, what happened anyway? You bailed out the banks in 2008. You allowed Citibank to bail out and never
Yeah.
held them accountable for and what they had to do. They paid retribution, but
Yep.
they paid it all from the bailout money that they got from the government. I so I got a settlement in 2009. Well, actually, it was later, but because I lost my house in 2008 and they didn't do it right, um, they owed me a certain amount of money, and so I just out of the random I got a letter saying respond to this if you want to receive a settlement. And I was like, is this? I thought it was fake. And then I
Yeah.
started reading it. I Googled it. I looked it up, and I was like, nah, man, this bank they did some crooked stuff. So I sent it in, and they sent me back and said, you'll get anywhere from 500 to uh, $350,000 or something like that. So I'm like, oh man, uh, maybe I'll get to 350,000. But I ended up getting, I got a check for 1,500.
Wow.
But that helped me buy my house up here. But so this, what we consider capitalism in
Hmm.
America is not. They have slowly, since I would say since the Bush era,
Hmm.
slowly allowed the small businesses to be picked out and pushed to the side, and allow these big corporations to come in because that's how they can control the market and they can control the people.
Yeah. And that was a discussion I was having recently too about how we know in the how America how they actually get into the territories and take over with companies simple as like Coca-Cola. When you go to foreign countries, if you see Coca-Cola products there, that's usually a political move that they're there for something bigger than Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
Because once you see Coca-Cola, then that's when you're gonna start seeing other businesses and other things start to grow and grow and grow, start to be around. So what I'm saying, just to speak to that point, it's nothing against somebody trying to get out there and make a earnest dollar through buying and selling goods that have a supply and demand. But at the end of the day, if you're playing in a game to where it's kind of rigged already, I mean, what chance do we withstand here? And that's a lot of issues
Yeah.
that people are having right now with just administration and these years going by, just time going by. It's kind of like we're just in a twilight zone. It's like a standstill almost. Like
Well, we're actually seeing all of the wealth that was built very quickly in 4 years reverse itself. And we have passed the point at which we were what before Trump got into office. We are worse off um, than when we were even with Obama.
yeah,
I mean, you look at unemployment rates. You look at, I mean, how much inflation has popped. They're spending more money than we than we'll ever be able to pay back. And the only way that you could pay back money is by taxes. That's the only way.
Yeah, it is.
And so, all of that's going on. And then what's really, I think that they needed this energy. And that's why you'll see Biden is being put up as a sacrificial lamb so that a couple things are happening.
Okay.
Right now, the audit is about to come out. So the Arizona audit is about to come out.
Yeah.
And that is going to be huge. Pennsylvania's still doing theirs. Georgia didn't even do a full audit and they just found 250,000 mail-in ballots in Georgia,
Oh,
never recorded.
get out of here.
Just found them. Yep,
How? How did you just find 250,000 ballots? Like, that is
exactly.
freaking insane.
So
Damn.
and he only won by like 14,000 or something like that. He won by a very small margin in Georgia. I mean,
Wow.
lost. Trump lost by a very small margin, and so that happened. So that's going on right now. And then the big thing that is going on is in the spending bill, in the infrastructure bill, they are going after cryptocurrency, and
I knew it. Knew it.
that is really what they're going, because they can't crumble Americans' economy until they have control over crypto, over digital currency. And so they're trying to work it all out. Once they are able to identify who's in crypto and who's not, the game is over.
It is. It is because that's what people were just. I was just watching the video earlier about that blockchain. That blockchain was a way for you to just have pretty much a solid ledger to say this person is good. Other person, you don't got to know who it is. You're
Yeah,
good.
you're good.
This is our number. Nobody can get in there. Because I was watching an artist, I shared it recently. He sold his album for $1, 7 songs for $1. He sold the album, and he went sold 1 million of them in like 2 minutes. As soon as he went live, sold 1 million copies. Boom. I said off of NFT, non fungible tokens.
Yeah.
And I said that is freaking amazing because it's cutting what the blockchain is pretty much cutting out the middle guy. That's what it is,
And
cutting out the middle.
it's outside of the central banking system. So it
Exactly.
is so nobody is getting any, or nobody can make money on his money. And so what I mean by that is every $100, this is this is crazy, and it blows my mind that this wasn't taught to me at an earlier age.
Mhm.
And we talked about the banking system quite a bit on the show, but I
Yeah.
just want to repeat this because this is key to what's going on right now. Every $100, they're allowed to lend out $900. So once they lend out that $900, they have to put that $900 back in the bank. So that money goes back in the bank because
Yeah.
you can't just, they won't let you just spend your money once you borrow it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that money goes back into the bank. Now they have basically $1,900.
Yeah.
So the bank has made $1,900 off of $100.
Yeah. Off of your money. That's the issue I have with local banks because the fact that banks are doing things like that, and it's like when I come in and try to get a loan, you look at me and act all crazy. But you taking my money, flipping it, tipping it, dipping it, doing all kind of stuff to it. in order to pay off other people and give other people loans.
Yeah, and so that all the digital currency they can't touch. They
Mm-hmm.
have no way of making money off of it, and it is driving them crazy
Yeah.
because for centuries that's how they've made their wealth.
Mm-hmm.
I think Honduras and El Salvador already went. Their national currency is crypto.
See?
China's about to do the same thing. And when they go digital, that's going to be so. My personal, um, you know, my crystal ball. I believe that that's who they want to have the main cryptocurrency and use Chinese crypto for the whole world. And that's why they've propped up China in such a way and tried to
Ooh.
eliminate America in the trade and all that other stuff. That's just my crystal ball.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a pretty decent assessment if when you look at everything as a whole, because you would look at like why would y'all you were competing with China? Why would y'all continue to put China over your own country's
yeah,
morale? It seemed like you guys were just kind of going crazy with the China stuff, and now you got the Asian hate, and I just like it's just too much. You know what I'm saying? Like you're overcompensating for other countries way too much. But like we know, there's a lot of special interests. They got their hands deep in the American soil over here that we don't know about. Some we may know about, but as far as the uh the agreements that they have with each other, as far as real estate and doing business and things like that with each other, it's you can tell that there's something bigger that they're hiding from us in the media. The way that, like you said, the way that they're kind of always protecting China and not allowing us to speak out against them.
yeah. I mean, when Trump stood up to them, they politicians didn't know what to do,
Yeah,
and that's what made me think like, yo, he is the only one talking and actually doing stuff.
yeah,
I remember in some of the primaries, some people were saying China was our number one threat. As soon as Hillary came into play, they were like, nope, Russia. Blame Russia for everything. Russia's the worst in the world. But meanwhile, Russia wasn't, they were just trying to survive and do what they had to do. It was us giving China more power, more power, more power. And even now, because of Afghanistan, Biden has weakened what America, any country that has ties to America, are basically on, they're on blast. They're basically scared to figure out what's going on because Taiwan,
hmm
America, Trump was back in Taiwan and said, listen, you're not messing with Taiwan. That's China, hands off. You know what I'm
see,
saying?
yes,
And now that um, Biden went with Afghanistan and did all that, messed that all up. The Chinese president or whatever his name was came out and said, "See Taiwan, see what happens when you run with America? They leave you high and dry."
yeah, yeah, and that was clearly pointed out in that decision. Yeah, good point. Yep.
Same with um, this other country that I always forget it. We just said it over by Russia, um,
Was it all Ukraine?
Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. Now Trump went over there and tried to help out and get all the cronies that Hillary put in and get them out. And they did a great job of kicking a lot of them out. All those individuals that they got out all basically all went back and worked um, for what's his name? What's that? The rich globalist that owned Soros. All of
Oh,
all the cronies that the Clintons put in over there, They
Yeah.
all got the people kicked them out, and they all went back to work for George Soros and his foundations in different places all over the world. Some even came back to America. And
That's a,
so there's so much, even at the border, there is a border crisis going on like we have never seen before, and you don't hear anything about it. There are people, hundreds and thousands of people coming across this border, and they're
like
being
as as we're speaking now,
as we're speaking
people just
every
constantly.
day. I'm talking about daily terrorists, and they're not just people from Spanish descent. There's Chinese, there's Middle Eastern, there are every country, Haitians coming across. There's you name it, any country, they're coming across the border. They're just rolling up, and then the American, basically, the Biden's taking those people and putting them on airplanes and shipping them to all these cities all over the world. I mean, country, all over the country, and giving them all free homes, rent free, social services, all of that. It's crazy. You there? Well, I don't know where he went, but so we got the situation with the border. We got the situation crumbling in Afghanistan. We got the economy crumbling, and the job. Uh, Basically, the workforce is nobody's going back to work, so nobody knows what's going on with unemployment and if they're going to extend with this new Delta variants and all this other stuff coming with the rise of the corona new cases. So it's all coming down to who's running the show and why is he doing such a horrible job.
Yeah. Hey, I'm sorry, Jeff.
Yep.
My apologies. I'm sorry. My daughter keep stop. I'm sorry. My bad about. Go ahead. Finish off that last part you had just said.
No, I was just saying all these things. I just, I figured you were on mute, so
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. I was going in and out.
basically all I said, I was just tying it all together. We've got Afghanistan, we've got the economy, we've
Yeah.
got
Yep.
the border crisis, we've
Mm-hmm.
got unemployment. What's going to happen? There's millions of jobs out there and nobody's working. Are they going to extend that? They talk
Yeah.
about they
Because
want to put.
they extend them under the unemployment and all that stuff.
Yeah,
What are they doing with the landlord stuff? They're talking about they actually had lifted that. So people, I guess people are getting their the final letters and everything, and it's a horrible. They didn't even transition into that in a good way. Like it's just horrible, horrible
because
how.
they kept the money. See, this is crazy. They allocated in the what was that, like a $3.9 trillion?
Yeah,
Remember
yeah,
that?
it was a crazy amount of money.
They gave money for the landlords in the bill, and
Yeah,
they never got it.
yeah, I remember. I tell you, I remember.
They
But
gave,
I know the big case of the situation a lot with that was the fact that people didn't even fill out, wasn't filling a lot of the paperwork out, even handed in it. I know even a coworker I have that owns property that I work with, he was saying like, "Yo, I'm going to the people's doors and they're not even filling or coming back with the information." So he's
yeah.
like, "I can't even hand the stuff in, and I'm doing everything else for him."
Oh, because the renters have to fill out, not the I mean,
Yeah, it gets
the
yeah,
tenants. Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
I got
One
you.
guy was telling me, he was like, "Yo, I had everybody like it's 3 free months, like or whatever it was." He was like, "Yo, people won't even fill it out."
Yeah,
I
see,
said,
I couldn't
"That,
handle that, man. I'll be busting indoors.
yeah,
Like,
like
yo,
what are you
you want to live
doing?"
here for free? I'm living with you then.
Yeah,
I'll pack.
exactly.
I won't stay in my house. I'm living with
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
What you eating for dinner tonight?
yep. There you go. That exactly the same thing I said. I said, "Nah, I would have been no, mm-mm." You know,
I would. I
I
don't know what I would do.
I know, man. I know. But all in all, for the most part, a lot of these the situations are taking place right now. A lot of people are still, desperate, relaxed, but desperate. What one thing I'm starting to like, I was at the state fair a couple of nights ago, and it was just beautiful to see everybody out living their best life, um, enjoying the rides, enjoying themselves.
Yeah.
Things felt back to normal. You know what I'm saying? Nobody was really sitting there worried about a variant or anything like that. But for the most part, all of that, to get all of this back, and to be now trying to bring everything back slowly but surely. At the hospital, they told us September the 27th is you got to get it's mandated now.
Yeah.
Everybody has to get the shot. You have to. There's no,
And
well,
that's not even done by the state. That's the hospital saying that.
yeah.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. I do have some more information for you um, about that. I found another website,
Yeah.
and I'm telling you, man, the way that God works. Because if I was there, I would not get it. You would see me. I'll punch somebody in their face if they tell me that I got to do this because it's
I know, Joe. It's gotten
I
crazy.
I would have you would see me studying. I would have whole slides. I'm like, okay, come to the room. All bring your doctors. I want to ask all your infectious control doctors these questions.
Yep.
And matter of fact, you know, and I don't even want. I want them, and I want whoever I can. I don't care who it is, the mayor,
Hmm.
whoever it is.
I know. Because yeah, I don't know how they came to that conclusion. Like they're not giving people an option no more. It just came to the conclusion of, yeah,
You know
mandatory.
why? Is because they don't want to admit if they
Hmm.
can get everybody who is not um, vaccinated now get mandated, then what they're going to do is just basically continue to mandate boosters. So everybody, so if you didn't have it, you would get your 2 shots. But if you already got your original two, and you were less than say more than 6 months,
Yeah.
you're gonna be mandated a booster.
Yeah.
That's what's gonna happen. And so
Yeah.
every 6 months, you're gonna have to get a booster.
Yep, they're talking about them boosters already.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they were talking about all of that. And I said, wow, everything is really happening. Everything is really happening before us. And I'm like, yo, man, this is getting too crazy. I'm like, yo.
I mean, I know you don't want to just up and leave, but there's definitely there's a lot of jobs out there that you can work.
Yeah. I said, wow, y'all really, really pushing it. So maybe there, there's a older guy that I know, one of the departments. One of the young kids who used to work with us. His dad is actually about to die now. His dad worked at the hospital. He works. He still there. He was a supervisor at the hospital and a housekeeper. And I'll just leave it at that. But his son worked with us, and he's on a respirator and stuff right now, and it's not looking good at all. I said
and
that.
and he didn't get the
Um, I think he got the shots. I think. Don't correct me. I don't. I mean, don't
Gotcha.
do it, but yeah, I think he got shot and or he didn't something. But it's whatever it is, whatever the case is, it's not looking good for his dad, and I felt a little bad for him. I said, man, dang. He's on a respirator. So whenever I hear,
Yeah, you should tell him to shoot some ivermectin up in him, and he'll be
yeah,
fine.
yeah, I automatically just be like, man, it's over. So they put him on a respirator. I'm like, man, it's done
But
deal.
the lady that was at Rochester General, who fought, their family fought for her to get ivermectin. She was on the respirator for 5 days. They were going to pull the plug, and the family said, "No, we want ivermectin. We read about it. We want it." The hospital said, "We're not giving it to them." They went to above them, and they ended up giving it to her.
Yeah,
She took it. In 2 days, she was off the respirator, and she was back to normal.
yeah, like now. Imagine trying to suggest that to somebody at the hospital. Now people gonna be like, if they don't already know, they're just gonna be listening to what the doctor says.
I never told you this. This is what I just found out, and well, maybe I didn't. Maybe I did. I don't know. But the reason why they're suppressing ivermectin and the uh,
Chloroquine.
hydrochloroquine
Yep.
is because they found out. Guess what it heals as well as COVID,
What? Cancer?
cancer, flu,
What?
all of these viruses that people were going to die from.
Yeah.
No, nobody died from them.
See.
So either so these people are taking these ivermectin, and it's curing way more stuff than they want people to know.
Oh wow! And this is just a pill sample, right?
It's
A pill.
just a 38-cent pill. You take basically you take 3 of them. But for the regimen, it depends on if you just want to protect yourself and you don't have. There's different regiments of taking it. So if you say if you haven't you haven't come in contact with anybody that you know of, and you just
Yeah.
want to protect yourself, you take a certain amount. If you've come into contact with somebody and you think you're about to get it, then you take a little bit more and for more days. If you have symptoms and you know you have COVID, then you take a certain amount for a little bit longer. So on the website, that I forgot the doctors that promoted it, they have all of the different ways of taking it, and that's just one. That's just one thing. There's people that they said that there's stories of people asking for intravenous vitamin C, and they gave them intravenous vitamin C, and they were healed in one day, and they walked out of the hospital, no symptoms, no nothing.
What?
Yeah, and
After
so they just basically put a whole bunch of vitamin C in an IV bag and shoot it up in you, and the people were getting healed.
I remember you telling me that.
It's crazy, man. And they don't want anybody to know because, well, they want to push the fear, but they also don't want people to know what these drugs actually could be used for. Because you remember, like, one of the most prescribed drugs in America is what's that drug for erectile? It's the blue pill, whatever.
Oh, everybody always just talk about it too. I forgot now. Viagra.
Viagra. Viagra was made for heart disease.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
And then all of a sudden they realized the side effect to it was that these guys were getting hard and not being able to go down for a long time. So they realized they make more money on that than selling it for what they did.
Yeah. So you get it's like a win-win then. So
Yeah,
you
but you could still take it for heart disease.
yeah, see.
So, drugs, the way that I'll give you some other, like when my father had cancer, he didn't take chemo for a very long time. It wasn't
Yeah.
until the end. And he said, listen, I did what I could. I went healthy. He tried to do what he could naturally, and it just overran him. And when he started doing chemo, all of the he would get approved to do all these test studies. And so you would get the information for the test study. He'll say, listen, this drug was for lung cancer.
Mm-hmm.
But during the test studies for lung cancer, we found out that it was good for thyroid cancer as well. So it's not approved for thyroid cancer, but it's approved for lung cancer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so now we're doing a test study on thyroid cancer. Do you want it? And it showed X amount of good, certain people, some people, it helped, some people it didn't. Do you want to be a part of the test study? And so that a lot of these cancer patients, they're all doing these test studies for
Uh-huh.
different. It's almost like you might have, toe cancer or whatever, and you might be taking something was tested for brain cancer. And so nobody ever knows if it works or not. And I don't believe chemo works at all. But
Yeah,
uh,
no, get to that. It's sad that sometimes that's because I just had a friend of mine, his daughter, 4 years old, just came down with cancer about a year or two ago, and she's actually doing much better now.
yeah,
But I had to do chemo and radiation and stuff, and it was just so sad,
it is. And I know that some people they live through it,
man. Mm-hmm.
but I don't believe that the body's ever the same and cancer comes back always the second time. And I mean, just what I've seen. Um, and even the numbers. It used to be that you could say you were cancer free if you hadn't had cancer for a year, right?
Yeah.
And so they would say, if you don't have cancer for a year, oh no, it used to be 5 years. So you had to live 5 years without cancer and you would be able to get the pin cancer free, right?
Yep.
They had to keep on lessening it. So now it's 1 year. So now you see all these pictures of these people that say, oh, I'm cancer free, I'm cancer free. They've only been cancer free for 1 year. But really, within 5 years, normally, if you do chemo and radiation within 5 years, you will have cancer again and die. Not all the time, but it's highly likely that you will have cancer again.
That those are the chances. But the main thing about that, it makes it sad, is that when we aren't educated, or when they hide the education of the truth, or bar you from even being able to allow the truth for your situation, it just makes it sad because you feel like that's your only course of action would be the radiation if you don't know any better. That's what makes it kind of like, man, I feel bad for families that actually have to go through that and make that kind of decision, because like damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Oh,
Yeah,
I don't know what happened. It just cut off. Just
but I was.
kick me out.
Yeah, you heard what I said. I said I
No.
feel for families that my thing about I just feel bad for families like that have to make that kind of decision because you
Yeah.
know not having the proper education, or sometimes in some situations they don't even allow you to use a method that you would want to use without being labeled a child abuser or something like that.
Yeah.
But like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't when it comes to using chemo and stuff like that. So I don't know.
Yeah. They forced. They have forced our culture to only use medicine that they deem is good for us.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would have to take my child and go to another country without them knowing and get certain therapies that they wouldn't allow in America. And they would deem me child abuser and arrest me when I got back.
Wow,
Yeah.
too much.
But
That's the thing,
it's crazy.
man. It is. It is. They just if they one thing, it's another, man.
I mean, that statement, right? My body, my decision, right?
Yeah, there you
How
go.
how much do you hear that when they talk about a dead killing a fetus inside of a woman? That's allowed. My body, my decision. My body, my decision.
That's what he always hit you. Buddy, my decision. Yeah.
But when you say I'm not taking that vaccine, it's my body, my decision. What
Mm,
happens?
what happened? Yeah.
Oh, now it's not my body and it's not my
Mm.
decision. So it's okay to kill something inside of me, but not not able to. I can't not take a jab that is still in testing. It hasn't even been approved yet. And the reason why they're stretching it, remember you told me it was the end of September, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
because that's when the FDA is going to approve it. So the FDA is going to approve a shot, a vaccine that has never ever been the COVID, uh, the COVID, actual COVID virus has never been identified or separated in and actually been isolated to prove that people have COVID. That's never happened before.
Mm.
And on
See.
top of that, no animals lived in any of the tests. They stopped using animal testing for the vaccine because none of them lived. They were all dying. And they knew that if they continued, they weren't going to be able to put it on the market.
Oh.
And that's proven.
Wow. See, man, I can't. I just can't, man. See, it's too much. It's too much
Yeah.
that that has to be uncovered for the people to even to get an idea of what's happening. It's just too
It's
much, man.
crazy. And then
And,
on top of that, there's two, depending on which protein strip you get, they're both from aborted stem cells. One is from the 70s and one is from the 80s that they've kept and they keep on using.
oh, okay.
So there's
Mm.
actually somebody else's DNA in there. There's so much wrong with the shot. I don't even want to get into it because I've been going back and forth with different people last couple days, and they just take the information that they're told, and then when you question or you bring up points or bring up other information,
Mm-hmm.
that is against what they've been told, they start saying, "Oh, where you get your information from? That was made
Yeah.
up. What you Googled
Yep.
that?"
Yep. That's
Well,
what people.
I can't stand it. I'm like, no, I can give you the actual research project, the research paper right now. Read it. You won't understand a word, but read it.
Right.
Or you could just, I'll go. So what I tell them is, yes, I do Google. I Google the big words that I don't understand in the medical journals, so that I can understand what the medical journals are talking about. So I
Yeah.
do use Google. I use Google a lot, but I don't Google, you know.
And there's nothing wrong with that. That's what people act like.
Yeah.
You have multiple Google and everything.
But so I don't know. I'm going to say, a lot of people believe right now that there's going to be a huge false flag within the next couple weeks. Um, Monday, I believe is supposed to be a big day for announcements for the actual voting stuff. So tomorrow we might hear some big news, um, and the rollout. I think tomorrow they might be they're putting together all of the information and putting it into a presentation. And I believe this week they're presenting it to the Senate. And once they present it to the Senate, then they're going to release it to the people.
Ooh, that's gonna be good. I
So,
hope. Ooh, I just can't wait till they drop a bomb.
so if I hear anything, I'll definitely, even if I'm traveling, we'll set something up so um, we can have a conversation about it. I mean, there's just so much stuff going on. There's military tribunals going on. They're talking
Yeah,
about
that stuff, right?
Durham. Actually, Durham is about to come out this week as well, about Hillary Clinton, Obama, and Biden
Ooh,
all bringing back up. He finally finalized the investigation about them spying on Trump, and that's all coming out this
yeah.
week, I believe. So there's a lot of stuff coming out. And then on top of that, I believe there's some Epstein stuff coming out where
Ooh,
she has they're releasing more documents, and some indictments going on with that. And on top of that, um, Texas, the
mm-hmm.
the the Supreme Court of Texas said they were allowed, because they were trying to pass some COVID laws about not mandating and protecting their people,
Uh-huh.
and all with some voting stuff. And all the Democrats, I don't know if you remember they left on a plane, and
Yeah.
they haven't been back, and they're basically running from their job, and they
Yeah.
haven't came back. Well, they
Yep.
just subpoenaed every last one of them, and they're hunting them down. The U.S. Marshals are hunting them down as we speak to arrest them and bring them back so that they
Yo,
can vote on the law.
I'm telling you, this has to be the one of the worst administrations. See, everything is really showing this. Everything is really showing his face. This is horrible.
Yeah,
Just
I mean,
horrible.
and who have you heard anything from uh, his vice president? His vice
No.
president in 8 days has been missing for 8 days.
Oh my God. I knew nobody wanted to hear nothing from her.
Her responsibility is the wall and Afghanistan.
Yeah, she's not about to be. She's not tough at all. She knows she's not made for it. It's sad. She really treats us like throwaways. You know what I'm saying? Like if to have somebody like her to be trying to represent us, like, come on, be serious. We
She,
knew she.
yeah,
We knew that.
and I think, she keeps on having to. Her issue is she can't be questioned, and when she gets put into a hard place that she has to actually tell the truth, she does that nervous, weird laugh. And so everybody knows that she's lying when she does it.
Mm.
And she's done it a lot since she's been in office. And so she stopped taking any questions. She only goes out, she says what she has to do, and they walk, and both her and Biden can't take no question. Yo, President Trump was getting blasted every day. You saw him speaking on TV, right? Remember?
Yeah.
Every day he went out into the garden, battled, battled with the media. Nope, that's fake. Fake news. Nope, move
Yeah.
over.
Kept saying,
And now they don't do nothing. That's it's crazy, man.
I know that's a now. I said now I'm starting to hear some rumblings. There's a lot of Democrats that are embarrassed. They're starting to come out slowly but surely and like, yo, what the hell is going on? But that'll only be for a time being. But I like to joke with people all the time when I hit them with the Trump 2024, because if Trump come back, y'all gonna in for a rude awakening.
Yeah, and on top of that, he's gonna have both houses. He's gonna have, I mean, both the Senate and the House.
Look at that. See?
The Democrats already said we're losing. They know they're losing.
Oh yeah.
They just had what state was it? They just did I forgot what, in California maybe. I think it was in California. They had a special um uh election, and it went Republican. So now they basically are even in the House.
Wow.
And Trump is going out and purposely handpicking all of his people to go into these positions and go for governor, senates, House of Representatives. He's going out and he's saying, whoever wants to be on my team, let me know, and I will do whatever it takes to get you in office. And he's going to actually go out and promote a lot of people. And the Democrats are furious because they have no comeback. They have no candidates in these areas. California is about to be flipped to Republican. Newsom is out of there basically. It just depends on what Republican takes his place.
Oh, okay.
On top of that, they just found out. Um, um, Remember, I told you about the ballots, missing ballots.
Yeah.
Another place that they found a whole bunch of missing ballots, and I think it was way over 250,000. It was a bigger one. Was in
What?
California, and Trump announced maybe 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, told everybody in one of his statements, you will be surprised what states I won in. Even California looks like I won.
Mm. It's all gonna come
He
to
he calls it, man.
yeah.
He's crazy.
What's done in the dark will be brought to the light. I don't know why people don't understand that. It always comes form into fashion. It's gonna come to the
Yeah.
light. Your hand will be shown.
I mean, even the Democrats are saying we have to make sure that our elections are fair and the people that vote for us should needs to be heard and their vote needs to count. And the way that the system is set up right now, it is not like that.
Yeah, not at all. Not at all. But for the most part, like I said, You gonna touch on a couple more things, or
Yeah, I mean, I think just kind of setting up for this week. Um, I think we kind of hit all the major parts. There is some there was some big news uh, about some uh, human trafficking, but I won't get into that. But they're really linking some of the human trafficking through Epstein and through into the royal family, and things are starting to come unravel in that area. But I don't have all the facts about
you
it. But
know what? That's what we should do. Coming up on one of our next shows, get back into some of that Epstein stuff and see what's kind of get everybody abreast of what's been taking place with that stuff. Cause that'll be very interesting to dig into and see what's happening with that.
oh yeah, here. So I do have one article just because we were talking about so nearly 15 million mail-in ballots uncounted for in 2020 election.
What?
So yeah, they did some research, and this is a third party. This is nothing. This it's just a public interest group, legal foundation, and
Yeah.
they went through and found that almost 15 million mail-in ballots went uncounted in 2020 presidential election, according to a government accountability group that specializes in electronical integrity. And they go through and they talk about each state and what they found.
Mm, wow. That is crazy. That's amazing.
And the
Yeah.
reason why some of that had to come up was because they had they had the ballots if they needed them, but remember they had to recalculate and the algorithm
Yeah.
because Trump was winning, so they didn't realize how much he was going to win by, and so their algorithm was too small, and so they had to have all those mail-in ballots waiting to see if they needed them, or did they need to up? Were they able to up the algorithm to make it happen? But they didn't even have the to mail in ballots enough because Trump won in such a big way that they had to do it digitally and up it so fast that it made it look so bad. I mean, remember we were watching it; it was horrible how crazy it was. How are you just gonna say no? We're gonna cut it off at 10 o'clock. We'll recount in the morning, and then all of a sudden he's winning. Biden's winning. So
That is amazing. I can't see that. Man. There's so many different things that's just taking place. Stuff like I said, I'm gonna have to zero in this within the next couple of weeks because I said there's so much that I've just been hearing and seeing, and for you just to bring all of these different points to the table and just kind of open up and just give me more insight to it, it's like, man, okay, let me tighten back up and see because especially if they drop this bombshell with these missing ballots and everything in these states, and I said that it's going to just. I mean, it'd be a small victory for us because we know we want the bigger victories, but it'd just be a huge victory just in showing people like, look, told you, told
listen, if Trump gets put into office before 2024, I will ride my bike to Rochester General and get on that microphone while the line is going for lunch and yell, Trump is still president and run out.
look. There you go. See, that'll make somebody's day. Yeah, but for the most part, guys, like you know what I'm saying, Jeff. This is his final day here in
Yeah.
upstate New York, man.
When I talk to you next, I'll be in South Kakalaka.
Yeah, that's gonna be a beautiful vibe, man. Beautiful vibe. So I just want to say on my end, man, you and your family, y'all travel safe, Jeff, man.
Thank you.
Make sure that you take your breaks and stuff like that. I know it's not that long of a distance, but it's just a nice little journey, man. Just take your time and enjoy the countryside, and when you make it down there, man, just take a nice picture and share it with the Facebook family or something, man.
I will.
Get a
I
nice little
will.
mark shot or something like that, man. But until then, my friend, God bless you, God keep you. It's been real.
Well, same to you. I know you're doing. You got a lot on your plate, man.
Oh
Keep
yeah,
on.
yeah, man. My plate is like, whoo. Yeah, I gotta be up 8 o'clock in the morning. So that's why I'm sitting here like, even on my days off, I'm on. I'm on. So,
Yeah.
but good stuff though. God is good. I can't.
All right, man.
All right, my
All
brother.
right. Peace out.